Hello and welcome to the Second Knights Templar School GCSE Survival Podcast. The focus today is to provide tips and tricks for effective half-term study. What? Did I just say study and half-term in the same sentence? Yes, I did, but please don't hold that against me and definitely don't switch off. So, half-term, time for relaxing? Very definitely. Maybe even going away somewhere warm and sunny. Absolutely. But let's remember for a moment that our Year 11s are in the midst of their final 6 months of learning. So perhaps that exciting week that they've got planned should also contain just a smidgen of effective study too, even if they are bound for sunny shores. Why study at all? Why not just take the next 10 days off and come back feeling completely refreshed? The simple reason is because if your child doesn't study just a little bit, they won't hold on to that feeling of being refreshed for very long at all. After all, Year 11 mock exams start on December the 2nd with a challenging week of core exams in English, Maths and Science. So, all that being said, we know that studying this week might be challenging. So I'm going to outline 7 techniques which may help you have that slightly tricky conversation with your child and hopefully ensure that they use some of their time wisely this holiday. Okay, so the first thing to think about is whether your family is going away for the holiday. If you are, consider using the travel time to whatever exotic destination you've chosen to get some revision done. Travelling down the M4 to the mysterious west? How about listening to an audiobook? Are you going to be stuck on the M25? How about revising PE notes? Going on a longer journey by plane, students could take some notes that they'd like to change into index cards or mind maps, or they could take a selection of exam questions and use that boring travel time to craft a decent answer. Not going away? Going to be relaxing at home for the next week? It can be hard to study in our own house when surrounded by a million distractions, so try going to a cafe for a few hours. Some of my best studying happened when I was eating cake, and personal experience shows that there are some really nice cafes in Letchworth and Baldock with very pleasant atmospheres and a great buzz of background noise. So try to encourage your child to smash out a study session whilst enjoying coffee and a cake, and maybe even meet up with some friends and organise a group study session. Tip number 3. We've said it before and we'll say it again. It's always useful to create a to-do list. But remember, it's only a week, so keep it in perspective and try to identify just one area that you want to tackle for each subject on top of any homework already set. You might like to check that to-do list focuses specifically on English, Maths and Science, since these are the first exams. Tip number 4 is a really useful one. If your children are anything like mine, then those AM hours of a week off might be spent sitting sleepily on the sofa watching Netflix over their cereal. Indeed, they might not even get out of bed much before 10 or 11. So, help them take advantage of the AM hours by using holiday mornings to knock off a solid 2 hours of study. Then they'll have all of the afternoons and evenings off, and even the weekend. Still a holiday, right? Right. So tip number 5 relates to holiday reading. With the English literature exams coming up, your child's teacher may have asked them to reread their core texts. So how about catching up on this reading by using audiobooks? Listening to your phone while doing things around the house means that your child can combine activities whilst studying at the same time. They can even game whilst listening. It's true. It's very easy to download a free trial of the Audible app to do this, and here's a handy tip. Did you know that you can change the speed of the book that's being listened to? So slow things down or speed things up depending on what else is happening. You can do it in the car as well. Tip 6 is about preparing for the coming half term. So tidy the school bag, stock up on supplies, tidy the desk area, Look ahead to the core exams and start the plan for when the study is going to happen. When students return on the 4th of November, they'll have approximately 20 school days before those exams actually start. It's not long. It will be vital that their homework routine includes set homework and independent study, so use the half term to prep for this. And finally, tip number 7 relates to that elusive element, motivation, because it's half term, right? So why should we study at all? The simple fact is that we all put things off and end up leaving them until the very last minute, often when we shouldn't. And yes, even when we know we shouldn't, but we do. It's a common problem. A long-term fix is best when it can be found, like creating better study habits or making important personal changes, like we've seen in lots of our Year 11s this year. But in reality, a short-term fix might be the best thing for the coming week. Try this. Step 1, when struggling to get started to literally switch off the game console or get off the sofa, just go outside and go for a quick walk. It will help your child cut through the total fog of procrastination. Our ability to focus is always better when we get active, so go and do something. Step 2 is to decide on one single task. Don't get distracted by your to-do list. Put it away and choose just one clear task to complete. When you're done, you're done. Step 3 is to clear up your desk space so that there's nothing else on it that can distract you. Work clean. And finally, here's a really low effort step 4. Mental resistance to a task is usually because we know it's difficult to do the task well, and we're scared of that big blank page. So just start writing by putting down what's at the top of your mind first. You can always come back and improve it later. Sometimes you just need a warm-up, even if you feel like today is an off day. Sometimes the best work happens on an off day. The trick is just getting yourself into the zone, even if you have to trick yourself to do it, literally. As we said at the Wellbeing Evening in September, one of the biggest barriers to success is the use of time at home, and the coming week off represents an excellent amount of potential, both for using this time to the best possible advantage and having a great week off. Remember this stress curve? We want students to stay out of the green zone. Too much time spent relaxing, too much time spent on screens and sat down, sleeping even, is what actually causes real stress, just as much as too much work can lead to anxiety, panic, and breakdown. Well, I hope that's been a helpful listen. As always, I'm very interested in your feedback, so please let me know what you think of these podcasts if you have the time. Thanks for listening and have a great half term.